Okay. Legislator Galo, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
It'd be my honor, presiding officer. Please rise, place your hand over your heart, face the flag, and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
At this point in time, we have a point of personal privilege from Deputy Presiding Officer Richard Nicolello, and I'll let him tell us what that point of personal privilege is.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Nassau County has an outstanding foster care program. Nevertheless, it can be a very difficult time for the boys and girls who are involved in the program. I'm very pleased today to recognize 3 Girl Scouts who came up with a plan designed to brighten a very special day for those foster children. Last year, Grace Quinn, Sage Silver, and Madeline Lindenauer worked together to develop a special Silver Award project. The girls partnered with Lynn Campbell, a volunteer coordinator at the Nassau County Department of Social Services, to create Birthday in a Box, which is our individualized gift boxes for foster children ages 2 to 14 years who are currently in the care of social services. Grace, Sage, and Madeline fundraised to purchase the gift box items: balloons, party paper plates, cups, and birthday cards for the foster children celebrating upcoming birthdays. Thanks to their outstanding efforts, the girls collected and wrapped 40 unique age-appropriate gift boxes. Along with their families and guests, it's my honor, our honor, to recognize Grace, Sage, and Madeline for their compassion and their commitment to service. Great job, girls.
Hello, legislators. I'm Sage.
I'm Grace.
And I'm Madeline.
Okay. I'll come down, but thank you very much. You did a great job, and we're all very proud of you and what you're doing.
For our Silver Award, we came up with the idea because we volunteered at the foster care holiday party for 3 years in a row, each December, and we thought that we wanted to help out foster care children, and that birthday boxes were a good idea because some children, they really, like for their birthday, it would be really nice to give them a present and they'll be happy.
We got some of the stuff for the birthday boxes by talking to younger troops like Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, and they donated stuff to put in the boxes, and they made birthday cards to put in the boxes that wish the kids happy birthday.
And to help others realize the importance of foster care, we made a website that people will be able to see soon so they can learn the awareness of foster care.
Legislator Ford.
Girls, I'm over here. I want to congratulate you, I guess. How many years have you been in scouting now?
10.
Wow.
Yeah.
10. I think it's wonderful. And I just want to say, when I was younger, my parents used to take in foster babies and foster children. So I know that what this probably has meant to those children that are in foster homes, that to have somebody come in and care so much for them and to take away your time where you could be hanging out with your friends. You went out to make sure that you got these gifts, you got cards, you got everything to make it a very, very special day for these children. And I have to say that, you know what, you really made a change and a real impact in some kids' lives. And always take that with you, because you know what, your stars are shining very brightly today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Legislator Gaylor, I believe, has a message for us as well.
Sure.
Excuse me.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. Well, for those that know me, I'm from Lynbrook, and it's with great sadness that I report today that the village mayor, William Hendrick, succumbed to a heart attack he had on October 11th and passed away. Bill had been a faithful servant of government for more than 25 years. The last 7 years he served as the mayor. Prior to that, 18 years as a trustee, deputy mayor in the village of Lynbrook. He was at a Chamber of Commerce meeting on Tuesday when he suffered a heart attack and just never recovered. For those that know him, he was a 7-day-a-week kind of mayor who totally loved the village of Lynbrook, its community, its residents, and considered it his family and treated it as though it was his family. So I just ask that we take a moment of silence to remember Bill, the mayor of Lynbrook, for all that he gave and ultimately gave his life. Rest in peace, Mayor Hendrick. Thank you.
Legislator Birnbaum has a request for a moment of silence. Legislator Birnbaum.
Yes, this past Saturday, former mayor of the village of Great Neck Estates, Murray Seaman, passed away at the young age of 103. He was the husband of current Town of North Hempstead Councilwoman Lee Seaman. He was a lawyer for well into his 90s. He practiced law. He enjoyed playing tennis, an avid player, and he led a very full life. But in honor of former village mayor Murray Seaman, I would like to declare a moment of silence.
Thank you. May your soul rest in peace. Pulitzer, please call the roll.
Thank you, Madam. Deputy Presiding Officer Richard Nicolello. Alternate Deputy Presiding Officer Howard Copel. Legislator Sela Bino. Thank you. Legislator Carrier Solage. Legislator Denise Ford. Thank you. Legislator Laura Curran. Legislator C. William Gaylor III.
Present.
Legislator Vincent Muscarella. Legislator Ellen Birnbaum. Legislator Delia DeRiggi Witten. Thank you. Legislator James Kennedy. Legislator Laura Schaefer. Legislator Arnold Drucker. Legislator Rosemarie Walker. Thank you. Legislator Donald McKenzie. Legislator Stephen Rhodes. Minority Leader Kavan Abrahams. Presiding Officer Norma Gonzalez.
Present.
We have a quorum, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Pulitzer. As is customary with every full legislative meeting, we have 30 minutes of public comment. And today there are several speakers, and I do ask on behalf of each and every one who wishes to speak to adhere to the 3-minute limit. And I will begin with Randy Kaplan. Where are you, Randy? Okay.
Sorry. Good afternoon. Well, I could spend the next 3 minutes just saying, I can't believe I'm here again, I can't believe I'm here again, because every year it's the same thing again. Everyone says they want to attract and retain young people here in Nassau County. But let's think about it. You want to keep raising the fees. How is that going to attract and retain young people or folks who are looking to refinance their homes? We've met with many of you. We've told you the problems that we have with this. Isn't there something that can be more broad-based that's fairer to everybody else instead of just targeting the folks who are looking to purchase a home to possibly refinance? It's, the regulations that you're proposing are sending the costs soaring, financial obstacles for home buyers, and of course, as I said before, the people who are refinancing too. These fees create a drag on the local economy and adversely impact sales tax revenue. In the year 2015, the fees were $225. Reasonable, right? Well, in 2016, they got raised to a total of $525. Last year, we asked you all to please not put the fees in the budget proposal. You agreed, and we were very thankful. And then Uncle Nifa came around. And Uncle Nifa said, no, 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 this is not going to work. So we realized you had to put them back in last year, unfortunately. Here we are again trying to fight these proposals. If these proposals are passed, and it's going to be in the budget, we're talking about $855 for the combined tax map and block fee. That's ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous that we're trying to, once again, I'm going to say it a third time, Nassau County claims that they are trying to attract and retain young people to this region. There's probably nothing else you could do to send a stronger message than you're against that than proposing these fees. I want to let everybody know that the Long Island Board of Realtors stands tall with the National Association of Realtors, the New York State Association of Realtors, and our coalition member partners, including the builders here on the island, the developers, the Long Island Association. We're not going to stand for this anymore. Thank you.
Legislator Capel.
Yes, Randy.
Yes, sir.
Good to see you here. And as you know, I couldn't possibly agree with you more. Just to correct one thing that you said.
Yes.
No one here proposed those fees. Those were proposed by the administration.
Point well taken.
And I believe that that we have some good company over here in not intending to raise those fees. And
But
we'll
they
see
did
how it
pass
comes
the
out.
Rules and Finance Committee, Howard.
That was and I tried to explain it at the time. You have to. What happens is you've got to have a hearing on the budget. Instead of having two hearings, since this is a type of hearing that all the legislators need to participate in, the Rules Committee, as a matter of procedure, just passed it on to the full legislature, and we'll have the hearing at that point. But it was explained at that time that very clearly that passing the budget on was just a matter of form and just a means of getting the whole thing over to the full legislature for a better hearing and a full discussion. So don't read anything into that at all.
Okay.
Legislator McKenzie.
And Mr. Kaplan, and one other point I think that wasn't lost from your statement was the role of NIFA in this process. So while we listened to you and agree with you in most regards, what you said, I think you should also be addressing your comments to NIFA and address
We
them
have.
to them.
Absolutely.
Because that is the impediment to us in this process. And we think your comments would be better placed there to let them know. Thank you.
Thank you. With all due respect, if I can just say one more thing, where's the political guts to make this a broad-based increase across the board, and, as opposed to attacking the folks who are looking to buy and sell homes, to refinance? Thank you.
If you could stay for a second.
Was there another question?
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Madam President Officer. No, not a question, Ray. I just wanted to make sure that I clearly delineated where we stood. We feel, such as you do, and when you brought up the fact that this passed through the Rules Committee, this was something that normally when we tee something up, there is some possibility that all sides haven't really decided which direction they want to go in, and they want to hear more, and you want to provide it to the full body, and I get that. And Legislator Coppell is correct in that vein. That's the way I look at it. But however, it sounds like to me, based off the comments that I heard from the presiding officer, and the 7 of us on this side are vehemently against these fees, and we're in the process and will announce our amendments which remove these fees come Monday, as we've required to do as per the charter. It doesn't make much sense if both sides are in agreement why it even went through the Rules Committee, if both sides are against it. And I understand the process and the procedure on how things are done, but to me, the way we've always done this, and the way I always understood it, when we considered policy and procedure and voting these 3 things up, and the process we call it is teeing up, which has been done through Judy Jacobs to Diane Yaturo to Peter Schmidt to Norma Gonzalez. The way it's been done is that it provided debate and discussion for items that this body was not clearly made a decision on what direction we wanted to go in. It was never done as a practice where it seemed like there was a willingness to not vote for these fees and still tee it up and pass it through the body. And which it sounds like to me there's a willingness to do that based on what I heard from the county, based on what I heard from the presiding officer. So we voted against them. And it is our hope that there will be amendments from both sides. I can speak for our side, there will be, but we need both sides, as you well know, to be able to support those fees not going through. But I wanted to clearly explain to you that those measures passed in committee without votes from the Democratic caucus. And we plan to put up amendments on Monday to remove those fees as well.
Thank you, Minority Leader. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Presiding Officer, I have one comment.
Who is it? Legislator Drucker.
Thank you. I just wanted to make one comment in response to Legislator Coppell's comment that not to read anything into the fee increase. But by the words of the current county clerk, the fees have increased by 4,000% since 2010. I think there's something to be read into that.
Legislator Coppell.
Okay. I just want to make sure that we understand over here that as far as we're concerned, there are no valid, there are no actually experienced mind readers on your side as far as I can tell. So don't read anything in, as I said. The fact that they've gone up 4,000% is something with which I certainly agree. It's a bad thing. And unless, as I said, when I said don't read anything into it earlier, that's precisely what I meant. And don't sit here and try to assume that I really meant, or any of us here really meant something else. We didn't.
Let's go on. Carlos Rivera. Carlos. Did we?
Thank you very much. How are you, everybody? I'm here. My name is Carlos Rivera. I'm a delegate in the 6th Precinct, Nassau County. I'm here on behalf of James McDermott, who has a previous engagement. And I was asked on his behalf to ask for a moment of silence for the victims in Las Vegas. And I was wondering if we can all please just stand a moment.
We did, Mr. Rivera, we did recognize the situation at our committee meetings, but we're only too happy to do it again.
Thank you very much, Madam. Thank you again.
You're welcome, Mr. Rivera. Joanne Borden.
Good afternoon. An interesting thing happened to me recently. I looked through my window and noticed that the world is indeed flat. Because I could see with my own eyes. It ended out in the distance. However, my intellect took over and it told me that scientists have proven that the world is not flat, and I accepted it. The Republican legislators are doing a similar thing with the word gender. Since I have been asking for the inclusion of gender identity and gender expression in our human rights law, you see that the word gender is already in the law. However, I ask you to use your intellect and realize that if you don't specifically include our proposed amendment that defines gender to include transgender people, a court will use a legal dictionary and find the word gender means the state of being a man or a woman. All dictionaries say nothing about transgender people, which leaves us without protection. So I ask you once again to include transgender people in our law. Without that, we must hide our true selves and live in fear of discovery. If exposed to our employers, we'll likely be fired and end up in a low-paying job or none at all because of who we are, not the work we do. Most children are born with a birth variation of some kind. And scientists tell us that transgenderism is just another birth variation. Like red hair, green eyes, left-handedness. It's an American principle and the duty and responsibility of legislators at all levels, that includes you, to protect all its constituents, that includes me, from the evils of harmful discrimination. So again, I ask you to include transgender people in our human rights law by passing the proposed Human Rights Amendment. Thank you for listening. And Mr. Pulitzer, will you please distribute these cards to the legislators? It is an invitation to you to attend the Transgender Day of Remembrance, which is an international memorial service to those transgender people killed or committed suicide due to transphobia in the past 1 year. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanne. Kevin Moran.
Good afternoon. My name is Kevin Moran. I'm from the Long Island Builders Institute. I'm here to make a statement on behalf of the organization. The Long Island Builders Institute, New York's largest residential trade organization, would like to express its opposition to the administration's proposed increase of tax map verification fees and land recording fees in this year's budget. Just last year, we spoke in opposition of increasing the tax map verification fee from $255 to $355 after it was raised from $75 to $255 in 2015. Now, if passed, the fee will increase to $455 just a year later. 3 consecutive years of fee hikes is not only unreasonable, but unacceptable. Once again, the answer should not and cannot be another raise on the tax map verification fee and land recording fee. The revenue from a fee is meant to pay for the costs of a specific government program or service, not to close budget gaps. That is what taxes are for. Raising fees on real estate transactions will have an adverse effect on potential buyers, particularly young people and those who are seeking to access affordable housing on Long Island. While these fee increases may be seen as a solution to Nassau's budgetary woes, it will only make home ownership on Long Island further out of reach for potential buyers. Real estate transactions already have a positive economic impact on the community, but its extent can be stifled by creating more financial obstacles. It's unfair to continue to single out one industry and one set of residents to pay for the expenses of the county, which are open to all. Based on the foregoing, it is respectfully requested that these proposed increases be rejected. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moran. Timothy LaChapelle.
My name is Tim LaChapelle. I'm a legislative liaison from the Long Island Board of Realtors. I'm here today to urge the legislature to scrap the existing budget proposal that raises real estate-related fees and work to find sustainable and legal solutions to balancing the budget. The revenue from these fee hikes is extremely uncertain because it's dependent on the number of homes sold and refinanced. Current real estate statistics point to an extremely low inventory. This means that the county will need higher fees to recoup the same amount of inventory same amount of revenue they would in years of higher inventory. In 2015, the county projected an increase of $43.5 million in revenue by increasing the mortgage recording fee and the tax map verification fee by $150 each. In 2016, a $130 increase to the tax map verification fee was implemented to raise $15 million in revenue. This year, the county has proposed raising the tax map and the block fee by $100 each in order to raise $24 million in revenue. Each year the fees have been raised. The county has to come back 1 year later and raise them again, presumably because the fees did not raise enough revenue in the first place. As I've continually stated in front of this legislature, a fee is not a tool for raising revenue. A fee should only generate enough revenue to provide a related service. In the past 3 years, the tax map verification fee has increased from $75 to $225 to $335, and now the proposed hike would bring the total up to $455. The last 2 fee hikes raised a total of $39.2 million, which begs the question, what did the assessment department need with $39.2 million? How did they use it to improve the services of their department? When the per block fee was raised from $150 to $300 in 2016, the county clerk's office was expected to generate an extra $19.3 million. This year's fee hike is expected to bring in $11.6. The question from the legislature should be the same. What did the clerk's office need with $30.9 million? And how did they use it to improve the services of their department? In order to pass these fees with the presumption that they are legal, the legislature must justify why the county clerk and the assessment department needs this revenue. My suggestion to the legislature is this. Call on a representative from the assessment department and call on a representative from the clerk's office to testify in front of this legislature on the next budget hearing on the 20th. And ask them to justify the increases in revenue to their department. We'll all be back here on the 20th waiting for that to happen. But if it cannot be done, these fees need to be scrapped. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. LaChapelle. Melissa Gomez.
I just want to, I was here 2 weeks ago, I want to say thank you to the legislators that are in agreement regarding not increasing the recording taxes. And then for everybody else, I think at this point, you've already heard, obviously, from multiple people, we're going to continuously be coming to meetings to say we are in opposition of the fee increases. As I've sat on the board for the Long Island Board of Realtors and as I come in as secretary, I do look at every line item. I do think that it's a responsibility of the body to look at each thing and to know where is it going, what's the purpose for it. And that's what we are here asking you to say. Why are these increases happening continuously? Is it just, I mean, it's obviously an easy picking there. What's the purpose and why? Because something is gone amiss. There's a question here in your budget, and it is your job at this point to ask those questions and then try to figure out how we can resolve that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gomez. Johnny Mora. That's a good thing.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Johnny Mora. I'm the program coordinator for the National Black Leadership Commission on AIDS. The National Black Leadership Commission on AIDS is one of the oldest and largest organizations in the nation. Its mission is to educate, mobilize, and empower the communities of color and their leaders in the fight of HIV/AIDS and other health disparities. I am here to not only to present our MBLACA to you and Nassau, but also to invite you to participate in any way or help us to advocate the awareness in Long Island. HIV is still an issue in the communities in all levels. World AIDS Day is December 1st this year. Every year is December 1st. And I would like to participate in any way with MBLACA and other organizations to raise the awareness of HIV among the communities of color and all of the communities here in Nassau and Suffolk as well. Thank you very much. My card and our MBLACA's mission statement, who we are and what we do, hand them to them so you can all have my information. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
I do have your information on the slip, and we'll get back to you.
Oh, but there's more pound cards and my personal business card. Thank you so much.
Pearl Jacobs. Here we go.
Good afternoon, Pearl Jacobs, Uniondale. Of course, I'm coming to ask the question again, the status of the Uniondale Streetscaping Initiative program, contract B1116, any status?
Pearl, the contract has not been called.
Well, I expected that, but I just have to ask anyway.
No, I know, and I appreciate you doing that because it establishes the record, and I appreciate you doing that and giving up your Monday, taking a day off of work to come do that.
Yeah, it's okay. I give up a lot of time, time that I can't get back, but it's for the community. I do want to, I always give credit where credit's due, so I do want to congratulate the legislators for East Meadow. That would be, I guess, I would say Legislator Gonzalez, and maybe, is it done? Well, congratulations on the aggressive development going on in East Meadow with the Stu Leonard shopping complex, which is beautiful. I've been there a few times. It's wonderful. And the development of all of the eateries on Hempstead Turnpike and the mediums and the walk-in health facilities. All of that is really good for the community. It's aggressive development going on, and it's good for the community, and I do not envy that. But my question is, how did this all come about? Being that we can't get anything done in Uniondale, was this a collective quid pro quo between the legislative body? How is this going on? Maybe someone can answer that. Again, silence is golden.
Ms. Jacobs, let me say something to you. These are independent entities. These are entities who have looked to the community for the possibility of establishing their business. We, as legislators, have nothing to do with them coming into our community or any other community. This is a commercial, and their applications are made to the town, and none of them have anything to do with the county or with this body. So it is not something that we have promoted, and we're happy, I have to say, I live in East Meadow, that there is progress, but there seems to be an interest in coming to East Meadow, especially along Hempstead Turnpike.
Well,
but they need to go to the town of Hempstead to apply for permits and for applications.
Okay, so good for East Meadow. I'm really happy, and just as usual, not good for Uniondale. You know, I drove through. This is a question for I would say my legislator. I drove through Roosevelt yesterday. I don't take that path too often. Down Nassau Road, and I must say it's atrocious. And I'm nothing, against the good people of Roosevelt, because Uniondale is not much better. Okay, it's atrocious. Okay, egregious and atrocious. It's terrible. And my question would be, why is there such a great divide between LD1 and other legislative districts in Nassau County? That's a question I guess maybe anyone can answer.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. I can answer that question. Well, obviously, if it sounds like what you're alluding to, there was a period of well before I even came onto the legislature of neglect for the Roosevelt community. Projects. And
Uniondale, yeah.
Well, you brought up Roosevelt. That's why I brought up Roosevelt. So, which one are we talking about?
We're talking about both. But
okay.
You can expound on Roosevelt. That's fine.
You brought up Nassau Road. That's why I'm specifically talking to Nassau Road. There was tremendous neglect for the Nassau Road community up until the time I got there, when we were able to do the median, as you know it, as well as the brick paver crosswalks, and we were able to do the decorative lighting with the town. That didn't embark and happen until the mid-2000s, but there's a lot more work to be done. Unfortunately, as the people in Roosevelt well know, the areas of Nassau Road are segmented into various different jurisdictions between the town and not much the county, but between the town owning many of the parcels. It's very hard to get anything done in a I should say bipartisan, but in a cohesive effort to be able to get substantial change to that area done. And unfortunately, when it pertains to Uniondale, there was actually agreement. The reason why nothing could start off in Uniondale is because the lack of ability of this legislative body to actually approve the phase 1 of Uniondale. But we were all there. There was a commitment. I think at the time, I see former Supervisor Kate Murray, who's in another capacity. She was there. The county executive was there. I was there. The councilwoman was there. There was total agreement that we were going to move forward. So from that standpoint, it doesn't make much sense on why it doesn't go forward, because you have agreement from all bodies of government as well as all different parties and persuasions in government. It should go forward. So I think both issues are unique in their difference, but ultimately you need both levels of government, which you have, in this case, the county and the town, county being the road, town as pertains to the parcels, that need to be able to work together to get it done.
Well, thank you for that answer. I still relate it to, systematic, normalized racism, which is, it is what it is. It's always been this way, and it will probably always be this way, but no, it will not always be this way. There's change coming, and frankly, people of Nassau County are tired of the divide and the systematic normalized racism that has always existed in Nassau County, a divide that should not be. It should be, we all pay taxes, we all contribute to the the well-being of Nassau County, and we should all be given fair and equal opportunity. It's not just the way it is. Basically, there are two Nassau counties, the haves and the have-nots. and it has to stop, and it will stop. And for everyone that's running, I wish you well on your elections, and just remember that the promises that you make to your constituents, you should uphold and keep your promises, because people are not sleeping anymore. We're wide awake. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jacobs. Ms. Harris. Ms. Harris, where are you?
Good afternoon. My name is Patty Harris.
Good afternoon.
I'm here for myself as a resident of Uniondale. And I just have a question. How many of you guys, or you legislators, I should say, can say that you're not racist? How many of you can say that? Can you say that? Because it's stayed on the record, because being silent is just another answer, too. Okay. Since you're being silenced on that, there's different forms of racism. There's the old school racism, and there's the modernized racism that they have now. Holding Uniondale back in the residential area, not in the commercial area, in the residential area, is just another form of racism. You keep saying that you agreed on passing the bill, the bond, or whatever for the streetscaping. And then you get into here, the chambers, and you start saying, no, you're not going to do it because this one won't sign this and this one won't back me up on that. But you know what? It's the people who voted you in. And after a while, the people get tired of this. Uniondales may be smaller than your areas, or it might be bigger than your areas. We may not have enough people right now to get you out of office, but one day we're going to spread to the next town, to East Meadow. We're going to spread to Hempstead. We're going to spread to Garden City. Maybe Garden City can agree with us. Rockville Center. And these are areas that are beautiful, look nice. I can't even afford to live in there because my taxes for Uniondale is high enough. So coming to these areas, Rockville Center, Garden City, Jericho, let's see, Mineola. I might be able to do Carl Place maybe one day, but I'm just saying, you need to have this different levels of people who can stay in certain areas. But just because we can't move to other areas, that doesn't mean we don't want our area to be nice. And we put you in office because we need a voice for each town to speak for the government. And because we vote you in and you promise this and you promise that, and when you get in, you do these backhanded deals, and then when we realize that you're not doing what you was asked to do when you asking us to vote for you, then one day your time comes up. You might retire from the area. You might retire from doing what you're supposed to do. You might leave quietly. You might get in trouble with the law, anything. Guess what? It catches up to you. Because guess what? God has a time for your backhanded deals. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Harris. That ends public comment, and now on to the calendar. And I believe we have the first item is a hearing. Mr. Pulitzer, please call it.
Thank you, Madam. A hearing on a proposed local law. Clerk, item 361, a local law amending Title 24 of the miscellaneous laws of Nassau County in relation to extending the hotel and motel occupancy tax.
Motion by Legislator Nicolello to open the hearing, seconded by Legislator Walker. All those in favor of the hearing signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The hearing is now open.
Just Deputy County Attorney Martha Kreisel, and the extension is from 2017 to 2020.
Okay, and what can you tell us today regarding this item?
I'm sorry?
What can you tell us today regarding this item?
With regard to this item, it's been drafted, it's been properly put forward and calendared, and that is the extension of the taxes. It's the law that had been in existence with the additional years added to it.
Any questions or comments from the legislators? Legislator Birnbaum.
Are we following the allocation that the state mandates us to do? Is that?
I'm going to just, was Jerry just here 1 minute ago? I'm going to get the DCA that drafted the legislation to answer that question precisely.
Okay, because I know that there's a Nassau County tourism agency. It's combined Nassau-Suffolk, and I just want to make sure that Nassau County is contributing the amount it's supposed to, because we'd like to promote people coming to our county.
Sure. I'm going to get the drafter of the legislation to respond to that, Legislator Birnbaum.
I'd like to know, what is the purpose of this hearing? What is on the calendar for this particular hearing? What are we trying to?
It's an extender. There's a law in existence that would otherwise expire, and this is what's known as an extender amendment.
Okay, and this is giving the county the ability to do so.
The continued ability to do so, correct.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? Somebody else? Legislator Reggie Whitten.
Hi.
Hello.
Is there a way to put a provision into the statute which would require an equal distribution of funds throughout the county?
An equal distribution of the tax throughout the county?
No, of the funding, the revenue from the hotel motel, just to promote tourism throughout the county, not just in specific districts.
Again, I will check with the drafter of the legislation.
I think it'd behoove us, because it's one of those things that's important to have throughout the entire county, not just certain districts, depending on.
Correct.
Thank you.
Any other comment from the legislators? Any public comment? Oh, I'm sorry, Legislator Bynum.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. Hi.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So I have some questions as to the actual activities of the Tourism Board. Do we have a report from the Tourism Board to say, this joint county board that gives us an account of their activities? I think I have a report that says they get roughly about $1 million from us annually.
What's the, do you know the approximate date of the report to which you refer from the Tourism Board? Because what I would want to know is whether it's been updated since you've received that, and that, again, I would have to check with the back office.
2016.
2016, okay.
Yes, so I'm just asking if we have an account of the activities of that joint collaborative board as to what type of information they're providing, or I should say marketing, advertising, what are they doing with that $1 million that we provide to them annually?
So I have my assistant is contacting over to the drafter, and we'll find out if there's an updated report on that as well.
Okay, and I also wanted to know whether whether members of that body interface with our museums and other, attractions to determine how the money could best be used. Because I know for a fact that the African American Museum in Hempstead has stated that if they were able to have the proper equipment installed to provide climate control, that they could actually have artifacts and other, pieces of art come to and be on exhibition at the museum, but absent of those, that particular equipment, they're not able to do so. And I think that if we were able to interface with the tourist attraction, the directors of those tourist attractions in our museums, we might be in a better position to make sure that we are resourcing them properly so that we could attract people to come out to Nassau County.
So you're interested in the interplay between the hotel motels and the sightseeing activities?
Legislator Bino, I would recommend you put a request in for that, or the museum itself put a request into that to parks.
I don't want to just look just at the African. I have lobbied on their behalf or advocated for them on their behalf because it does sit in my district. Yeah. But I'm saying we should be looking at that county-wide. I don't want to just look out for the African American Museum. I think it's something I'm asking whether there is a process in place.
The process normally is for someone to make a request. That's the way it happens to parks. And so they would not know of this. I don't think they know unless it's already been requested by the museum, because I know that they've gotten a hotel motel tax before the museum in the past.
Okay, so that's the way they're currently, planning.
That's kind of the way it works,
But I'm saying that I don't know that that's the most advantageous way to move forward in planning. I think sometimes you have to sit down and actually vet those things out, and I'd like to know what type of activities that body employs when it comes to planning, how they're going to utilize that money. So that's the question that I've asked.
All I'm saying to you at this particular point, and what you're saying makes sense, but in the end, the way the current process is, that the requests from the various museums in Nassau County is made to the Parks Department.
I know that some of those requests are made.
I don't know if there's any what you call
they don't get funded
necessarily planning per se, where they go out and I'm sure there are cases that they say there's a need and they at a particular park but most of the time the money is allocated by request.
Okay, so I'm going to leave my comments there, but I think I was pretty clear in saying that I think there's another way to plan.
Well,
to utilize
I would recommend, because parks, that you send an email or a letter on your stationery directly to the parks, and tell them of your ideas. What you're saying is not totally clear to me either, so I'd like to have a copy of it as well.
I don't even know how to respond to that. Thank you, Mr. Becker.
When you say planning,
Thank you, Mr. Becker.
Okay.
I'm going to ask Mr. Becker. I'm going to ask you this question.
Yes.
Since this is state mandated, okay? Right. Would it be correct to say that the state stipulates qualifications for the use of this money?
Absolutely, that's true too.
Can we know what those qualifications are?
Well, as outlined by the Parks Department.
That's right.
Yeah, you're correct, Madam Chair.
And we'd like to know that.
You're correct. You want to know it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you knew it already.
I know a lot of things, but I don't have to know everything.
Okay. No, we'll. Had I known this question was coming up, I would have had Parks here because they have a lot more information.
Yes, since this question was raised and it's not apropos to the particular item that's before this hearing, I think as a matter of education, information, and whatever else you may want to call it, it would be nice to know what the state qualifications are for anyone to access the use of this money.
We will do that.
Thank you. Any public comments? Oh, I'm sorry, Legislator Birnbaum.
Could I move to postpone the hearing? I believe a hotel owner of many hotels is on his way here to speak on this item, and I don't see him here.
The item is coming before us for a vote. Do you expect that individual to be here shortly?
Yes.
Well, he can speak, or she can speak at that particular time.
If
they get here on time.
The hearing is closed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why not? The item has got to be. People can speak on the item.
Right?
There's an item to vote on the proposed law. That's based on the hearing.
It's the next item, right?
That's right.
Well,
somebody here? No, that's not the genuine delay. Sorry.
I also have a deputy county attorney that we're reaching at this time as well. Christy has reached out, and we'll be getting information back.
Could I make a motion to recess the hearing?
Yeah, we were just considering the fact that until we have these individuals, we will recess the the hearing. All those in favor of recessing the hearing signify by... I don't? Okay. All right. The hearing on this item is recessed. Now, let's move on to the next item. Number two is
You got to skip. Vote on this.
I'm going to make it a little simple if we can. At this point, there are several items that are part of the consent calendar, and those are items that passed the committees unanimously. And I will begin with item 3, Ordinance 129, item 4, Ordinance 130, item 5, Ordinance 131, item 7, Resolution 188, item 8, Resolution 189, item 9, Resolution 190, item 10, Resolution 191, and I believe that's the end of the consent calendar. Motion, please, by Legislator Capel, seconded by Legislator Mascarella. All those in favor of the items that were just called signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the items pass unanimously. Okay, now let's move on to the next item, which is number 6. Okay, number 6 is a resolution 187, a resolution ratifying the act of the county executive in agreement in executing a memorandum of agreement between the County of Nassau and the Nassau Community College Federation of Teachers. Motion by Legislator Nicolello, seconded by Legislator Papel. Okay, you're on.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. Kate Murray from Nassau Community College, Minority Leader Abrahams, and all of the members of this body. I'm here on behalf of Nassau Community College. I'm also joined by Mr. John Gross, who is our outside counsel for the college. Before you is the NCCFT MOU, which is a 3-year agreement. It starts September 1st, 2017 with your approval and goes through August 31st, 2020. There will be modest increases in each of those years in the agreement, 1% in the 17-18 year, 1.25% in the 18-19 year, and in the 2019-2020 year, it will be 1.5%. There was a question in the Rules Committee, which voted this agreement out by a 7-0 vote about the budgetary implications of this MOU. We go on a yearly basis, and the 1% increase for the 2017-2018 year has been contemplated and is covered in the budget which this body approved back in June.
Okay. Any questions from the legislators? Any comments? Nice to see you, Mr. Gross.
Thank you.
Legislator Drucker.
Ms. Murray, pleasure to see you. John, always a pleasure to see you, too.
You too.
How are you?
Very good.
Who are the contract administrators? Who are they, and who would be appointing them?
The contract administrators are appointed by both sides, one by the NCCFT and one by the President. And they work together on issues that arise relative to administration of the contract.
And if the contract were to be changed, the ordinance rather, if the ordinance were to be changed, would the Board of Trustees have a greater role in that process?
Yeah, I understand your question now. I was filled in on the questions that arose. The reason for the suggested amendment to the ordinance goes back to 1977, and the college has lived under that for 43 years. The language of the original ordinance, which was adopted by the Board of Supervisors, was not terribly artfully written. It indicated that the Board of Trustees will be the bargaining agent for the college and the county because the college and county are joint employers. The county essentially delegated to the college the authority to administer the contract. The ordinance should have referenced the president of the college because under the Taylor Law of the state of New York, which was only 10 years old in 1977,
the law denominates the chief executive officer as the bargaining agent. I've spoken to Kate, and we are prepared to revise the language of what was submitted to the legislature. The only reason that that amendment was suggested is because the college, a new union was formed at the college, which is the NCCAA, which is a union of middle-level administrators. Under the Taylor law, administrators can organize. So since it's not a CSEA-type unit, which is administered by the county, the college sought the amendment to the existing Board of Supervisors ordinance to include the NCAA in that language. But I've been apprised of the concerns that were raised by the legislature. We are undertaking a revision of that language that I'm absolutely confident the legislature will be comfortable with when we do that.
I also do want to note for the record that Mr. Frank Facenda is here as well. He's president of the NCCFT union. Forgive me.
Any other comments or questions from the legislators?
Yeah, just the proposed language, the proposed amended language of the ordinance states that the Board of Trustees shall act as bargaining agents for the college, and and in addition to being solely responsible for the administration of collective bargaining agreements. Could you?
May I just ask a question? Are you speaking to this item?
Yes, this is the item.
Is it germane to this particular item?
Well, it's peripherally germane. You have the MOA before you of the settlement. It'll take me 2 seconds to answer the question.
Go ahead.
That is the inartful language that existed back in 1977. That's what we will change and modify.
But it says proposed amended language in the 2000 ordinance. It's the new language that we have here. So
that amends a 1977 county ordinance.
This is the old. It doesn't talk about administering the collective bargaining agreement. Right. The new does.
Right. Okay. It's just that the confusion is that the proposed amended language talks about the administration of the collective bargaining agreement.
I understand that. We'll fix that.
Okay. Thank you, John.
Any other questions or comments? Any public comment? There being none, all those in favor of item 6, resolution 187, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The item passes unanimously. Am I to assume that?
Yes. Thank you for your support, everybody.
Okay. You're welcome. Now, are those individuals who are asked to be here at the present time?
Well, a couple things. So, first of all, Roseanne is here to speak about the Nassau Suffolk issue that Legislator Birnbaum raised. And second of all, I did receive from Minority Council as well as from Roseanne the charting to which I believe Legislator Bynow was referring. And that was amended. That chart was set up in January of 2017, so we expect the next update to be January of 2018.
Okay. Would you say we have the information we need to reconvene this hearing?
Yes. Well, we can. I don't know about Legislator Birnbaum's witness, but I have what I need. So.
Well, I know the individual you're waiting for, but there is hopefully in the next few minutes that person will be here, and we still haven't. That person will have an opportunity to speak on the item itself. All right, so now, addressing the questions that were raised?
Yes.
Okay, let's go.
In my mind, two questions were raised that I can answer at this time. One is the charting to which Legislator Bynow referred, and that will be updated in January. And the second question that Legislator Birnbaum raised had to do with Nassau and Suffolk, and Roseanne Zaliba can address that at this time.
So the sales tax rate is similar to Nassau County sales tax rate on hotel motel, but it's in terms of the allocation that's mandated by state statute, that differs between Nassau and Suffolk, but they have something similar.
when you say it differs, but are we both following the state's code?
Yeah, so individually, so Legislator Binu, I believe, and Legislator Curran had asked for how the funding of the sales tax revenue is actually allocated, because there's certain funding that has to go to Bethpage versus the Treasurer's Office versus the Parks Department, and there's an allocation devised in the state statute. So Suffolk has their own mandate in terms of their own state statute as to how to allocate sales tax revenues from hotel motel, and we have our own.
Roseanne, before you go on, I don't think the clerk heard the fact that I reconvened the hearing, so the hearing is reconvened. And whatever testimony that was given prior to my statement should be incorporated. Go on, Roseanne.
So I just want to understand, so the amount given to the tourism agency, is it the same percentage from Nassau as from Suffolk?
I can't speak to that. I can only speak to Nassau County's percentage.
Okay. Because what I've been told is it's not, that Suffolk County contributes a higher rate.
Eric Norton, Deputy County Executive for Finance. Suffolk gives a flat dollar amount. They give $2 million out of their hotel motel tax for tourism to the tourism agency.
Okay, so it's not mandated by the state how much we have to give?
Ours is spelled out, I believe, in the law. It's a percentage. Theirs is a dollar amount.
So we could amend ours if we chose to.
I'm not the lawyer, so I won't speak to that.
I would have to research that. I want to be honest with you, legislator.
Need to amend the enabling statute at this
Oh, I see. Okay. My attorney's saying we would need to amend the enabling part of the statute.
And DCA Podolsak is on his way. He should be here any moment if there are further questions.
No, I'm just questioning this
No,
because
I'm
looking into the idea of tourism for Nassau County.
You got a question? No? Any other questions or comments from the legislators? There being any public comment? There being none? Motion to close the hearing?
So moved.
Moved by Legislator Nicolello, second by Legislator Capel. All those in favor of closing the hearing signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The hearing is now closed. And now on the item itself. The item is item 2, the local law amending Title 24 of the miscellaneous laws of Nassau County in relation to extending the hotel and motel occupancy tax. Moved by Legislator Nicolello, seconded by Legislator Mascarello. Okay. Any other comment? This is the opportunity for any other comments from the legislators or the public. Ms. Harris, am I correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I would like to know how much does the tax revenue without the board okaying your...
Are you asking this body a question?
Yes.
Please address your question to us.
I'm asking how much do the hotel and motel generate on the tax without you okaying this?
Nothing.
How much do they make a year from the taxes?
Nothing.
They don't make nothing with the occupancy tax.
It's based on the sales tax that is generated.
Okay, so how much is that?
And at this particular time, Roseanne DeLeva, please answer that question. I don't know.
So in 2016, we...
Get closer, Roseanne, get to the mic, please.
So in 2016, the county generated $5.5 million?
That's what I'm asking. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments regarding this item? There being none? Okay, we had public comment, and I believe it would be appropriate if people who have questions to please put them in writing so that we can address them adequately and as promptly as possible. All right, and there being no other comments, all those in favor of item 2, the local law amending the miscellaneous laws of Nassau County in relation to extending the hotel and motel occupancy tax. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any opposed, huh? Unanimous. Okay, the item passes unanimously. All right, that ends the calendar. And I believe that we do have another individual from the public who would like to address us. Thank you. Thank you very much. Mr. Budnick, you put in a slip. I have a slip for you. That's okay. We always do this.
Yes, honorable members of the board, Madam Chair. I've been trying to get some clarification as to what happened with the resolution to extend our having a permit from New York State for what I could best describe as the northwest section of the Massapequa Preserve. Okay, I'd just like to ask somebody to get back to me as to what's happening with that. Also, recently I was here.
Mr. Budnick, we'll get back to you with that answer.
Yes. Okay. Also, with regard to the correctional center, I heard the other day at a budget hearing the terrible conditions, the fact that it seems to be raining inside, the roof is not functional. Why isn't somebody trying to declare an emergency for the benefit of those who work and those who are currently residents there, the innocent and the guilty ones? I'm also asking that for consideration at some point in the future to be given to the creation of a Mitchell Field Historical District. I've spoken before the Board of Trustees of the college, and I intend to speak before the town of Hempstead about that. And also the creation of a rehabilitation facility to replace the one that was lost about 9 years ago when the Michael N. Petito Memorial Inpatient Rehabilitation Facility, Topic House, was shut down in Plainview. I think that we have almost blood on our hands because we haven't done that. And I'd also like to suggest perhaps consideration be given to creation of referendums to consider whether to once again elect the county sheriff and the county chairman of the Board of Assessment. Thank you.